Wir freuen uns, dass ihr alle ins Gaengeviertel gekommen seid. Oder einige sehe ich, die hängen hier schon ganz schön lange rum.
We made an agreement with Dmitri from Stodelat to that this is explicitly not a Subvision satellite, and that if we have it will not be mentioned on the site. From my side, it's maybe also for the reason that recuperation is one of the issues that you suggested to talk about. And I don't want to make much more introduction, actually. My name is Christoph. I'm not responsible for this.
So thanks a lot for making it happen. I mean, because that situation is quite tough. And of course, I made all my efforts to invite as more artists from Subvision as possible to come here. But unfortunately, you see me alone.
Really?
Yes, that's a problem.
You are all not Subvision artists.
No, you are not all Subvision artists. You see? The reason was very simple. I mean, just as long as they don't want to come to us, we don't want to come to them. So, and point of discussion, I don't know if you are prepared or not. Here there is a small publication that full with some local Russian situations that we published with Subvision money and produce a new film. It's actually the whole newspaper under the title Another Commons, Living, Acting, and what else? Knowledge. Yeah, living, knowledge, action. So, but at the same time, in this publication, we published our statement on our participation in Subvision. And I think it's a very political issue that was discussed already a few times internally, and I think it would make sense to make it public. And actually, this statement, we are not off, was discussed and pasted as a link to our website, so you already had a chance to read it.
Do we need to sum up the arguments why so many artists in Hamburg are pissed off about Subvision, and not only in Hamburg, also a lot of artists who were invited didn't want to take part after they were informed about some of the background of the show. Does everybody know that?
I would be really interested to know more about that, because we're coming kind of from outside.
I think what was strange when I heard about Subvision was that it's in Hafen City, where all that, I don't know, policy of city development in Hamburg is concentrated on a point where you see, well, this is pretty surreal, pretty strange. It doesn't really make sense. And a festival of Subvision, of art, which is actually against that mainstream flow, takes place in Hafen City, the worst place in Hamburg to do such a festival. I don't know.
First of all, you have to say the Subvision should have taken place last year, and there was a possibility because time got too short for that, for the realization of it. And the scene, I don't want to say off scene because I don't like the word, but the scene in Hamburg, who's culturally working for this city, and they got no request. They weren't invited, first of all, and but we all knew that the planning was already going on for this. And in the end, we got an invitation from the curators of the Subvision last year. There were 2 people. This year is just 1 left, I think. It's Brigitte Kölle. And we had a meeting in a special point. It's kind of very well-known place and space in Hamburg, Westwerk, in the Admiralitätsstraße. And we had a big discussion about Subvision, and especially about the place where it should take place. And I think in that time last year we could have changed everything, but in the end they didn't want to change anything. So they insisted of take let the subvision take place in Hafen City. There was no other way. I don't know why. I think there were many ways, because we have a lot of empty rooms in Hamburg already. You just have to go inside, and maybe also do it decentral. I mean, you can take many places and go around the city. I would prefer this, but well, anyway, they didn't want it, and we had good ideas for taking part in it, not as the spaces itself. We had also ideas of kind of big exhibition altogether, of documentation, doing a documentation about the history of all these spaces we have still left, and some are gone. That's a problem. Many are gone, really. So in the end, the scene decided, okay, they don't want to listen to us, so we decide we don't want to take part in it. But in the end, also 3 of these spaces of Hamburg scene took part in it, and they are still there. Okay, thanks.
All right, add a little bit on the framework because Hamburg has this very strong marketing concept, self-marketing concept, which frames everything that seems to happen at the moment, or a lot of what's happening at the moment. And it's, I think, more strong than any other city in Germany is doing at the moment. Since the CDU-Schill government took over, this concept of expanding city was developed, and the marketing, Hamburg marketing, kind of developed an idea of what's important in Hamburg, and we all know it, everything that has to do with the maritime image, with getting talent and people from the new middle classes here is important. And what else? I think that's the main thing: technology and talent and maritime image. And the whole urban development goes into this direction. And at the same time, all formerly independent funds for arts are directed into the urban development. For instance, the Art in Public Space program that once had 1 million mark in the 1980s now has 250,000 euros a year, so that's not even half anymore. Inflation bereinigt. It's probably a quarter of what was there. And most of the money is now given under a program called 10 Degrees Art, which is which means it should support the jump over the Elbe, should go into projects in Hafen City or in Wilhelmsburg or in the context of IBA. So art is instrumentalized to support urban development in Hamburg. And it is not, you can't go there and say now, I want to do an interesting project in Mümmelmannsberg or in the inner city or wherever. Nowadays you have, all the money goes into these areas. And that's the main point that frames everything that happens. And Subvision is an extreme example of this. And yeah, I think, but this, without this frame, one can't understand why people are so extremely upset, because the instrumentalizing background is mostly that we are told you have to do something here, you can't do something here, and the